There's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
You need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Trucks song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It's Midnight Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode, 163? I am Adam Choit. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. That's definitely appreciated as well. I'll put in an audio version of this episode as well for sure. I'm at Adam Choit, Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow me. AdamChoit.com for everything else that I'm working on and all my stuff. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast for everything related to the show. That sends you to a link tree with all the related links. Last night, the 29th of July, this is the 30th today, Tuesday, but last night, the 29th, the band was at the Astro Amphitheater in La Vista, Nebraska. And I was able to hunt down Dan and Michelle, who were there, who were going to join me and tell me all about that show. I got the poster. I got the set list. Michelle sent me some pictures to share. So let's bring them on, both newcomers, and we'll dive into it. What's up, y'all? What's going on?
Hey, Adam.
Oh,
hey,
this is exciting. Exciting. A couple of newcomers to the show here. Where are you guys? Well, why don't you tell me where you are and kind of how you... the summary of like how you became a TTB fan and sort of quick summary of your musical journey. Why don't we start with Michelle? Where are you and how'd you get into TTB?
Sure. So I'm in La Vista. I live in La Vista. I've been in the Omaha Metro most of my adult life. I became a TTB fan probably... Oh gosh, my first, quite honestly and embarrassingly enough, my only TDB album is the Revelator album. And I had that album memorized because I just listened to it over and over and over and over again. I had not seen them perform live until about 3 years ago, and they came to the Orpheum Theater here in Omaha in I think it was January. So it was super cold and wintry and miserable outside, and it was a Monday night, I think. So there was nothing going on in town, but a really good buddy of mine used to work at the hotel that they stayed at. And he was in the bar and he ran across one of the members and he said, I think your favorite band might be here. You might want to pop over. So I raced across town and went to the hotel lobby bar, and Mark came up and sat next to me at the bar and ordered some food, and we just struck up conversation. Of course, I was trying to not geek out because I knew who he was, but I tried to play it cool and be like, so what are you in town for? Kind of thing. He was super, super sweet guy, very friendly. We talked about family. We talked about his upbringing growing up in New York and me growing up in North Dakota, and just shared a lot of really great stories about our families. Shared pictures, was showing pictures of my daughter, my grandbabies, all of that. So it was just, he was just so sweet. And he did the same, he shared pictures with me and just had a genuine conversation, and then he told me that, hold on just one second. Hey, Mike, can you maybe...
No, I muted her. I'm protecting her. She could be telling deep, dark secrets for all we know.
Yeah, no. I had somebody coming in the house, so I was trying to prevent the blasted. So sorry.
It's all good.
Anyways,
part of the show.
Yeah. This is live, right?
You know.
So, anyways, he was asking, like, hey, what's there to do, in Omaha on a Monday night, and I was just like, well, nothing really. But there's a super cool bar next door. It's a speakeasy. He was like, oh, I love speakeasies. So the next thing I know, he's on his phone. He's texting, different members of the band. Let's go to the speakeasy next door. So me and my buddy showed up and met all of them. They all just kind of gradually started coming in. And Derek and Susan had not come in yet. It was getting late. It was a weeknight. I had to work the next day. So I was like, gosh, I really don't want to go. But, I'm just going to stick it out. And I'm glad I did, because Derek and Susan ended up showing up. I ended up buying Susan a drink. We sat and we talked music for like 20, 25 minutes. We have some music people that we know in common personally. So it was kind of fun to be able to talk about that. Growing up in Fargo, kid Johnny Lang is from Fargo. And the guy who taught him how to play guitar, I used to be roommates with him. And so we kind of just talked about all these music connections that we have. And that was just amazing. She introduced me to Gabe, and got some pictures taken with all the group, and just hung out. And the thing that really took me off guard, I guess, a little bit was I've known a lot of people who have been on a lot of bands, and they don't tend to like each other very much after they've been together for a while. And these guys all seem to just genuinely love each other. Their arms around each other, giving each other a hard time, telling insider jokes all night. It was just like, they were just very honest, genuine, fun, good people. And I think that made my very first TDB concert experience the very next night at the Orpheum even that much more special. So that was my first concert. I've then since gone and seen them in Fargo Moorhead. I brought my dad and introduced him to TDB. And then, and my boyfriend showed up there too. And then I saw them in Lincoln last summer. And then I saw them at Red Rocks. And then last night was my 5th show.
Nice. Very cool. I appreciate you sharing all that. That's such an amazing experience to have for your first show. And just like everyone I talked to echoes those same sentiments. And we were talking about that in the last episode. I was bringing up how, even on the stage, the way they interact with each other is just they're so engaged with each other, and there's a lot of love there. And I did use that word. And not every band is like that. Even bands that are still together to this day, that have been on and off or on even all this time, the guitar player might pass by the lead singer and not even make eye contact, and everyone's kind of in their own universes on this huge stage if they're like a mega band or something like that. But yeah, it's something truly special, that not only that I talk a lot about the sort of access that you're describing, that a lot of fans have had those sort of conversations with various members of the bands. They're so friendly and personable, and you don't get that with other acts that you see, and you don't always observe the love that the band shares with each other, on and off the stage. And in the case that you're describing with that story. What about you, Dan? What's your TTB history, and where are you?
Actually, mine started with videos. I'm probably not the only one, but when I got a smart TV several years ago, there was an app on there, the Quello Concerts app, where you can sign up and get concerts of every variety. You know how all the squares come up on your TV and you just scroll through them and looking for something. And one said Derek Trucks Band. Okay, I wonder what this is. So I clicked on it, and it was just blown away by the variety of music and how great it was. And I thought, and I've looked back since, I think that was a video made of an album from like 2006. So this would have been 10 years later. Derek looks, they're all, now 20 years younger than they are now. But it's kind of fun to go back and watch some of those. But anyway, so I thought, I got to find out more about this. So sure enough, I just search and find out about Susan and how their bands joined together, and just said, this is so fantastic, and just loved the music, the variety of the music. And and so started searching to say when are they going to be in the Midwest. And so my first show is 2018, a Wheels of Soul tour, when they had Marcus King Band and Drive By Truckers with them, and that was really great show. And then I've been to 2 or 3, the ones here in Nebraska the last few years, like Michelle has mentioned. I'm happy that they've been able to find a stop here. And then I had a chance to see them at Red Rocks a couple of years ago, which is always a prime location, right? It's always a treat. It's worth everything you hear about it and more if anybody has a chance to go. So really fortunate that to meet you, Adam, and talk about it to somebody who's a mega fan like Michelle is. It's just great to meet each other. And that's, there's so many levels, I think, of our fandom, if you will, of that you can just enjoy it just for the music's sake. If you never saw them, if you didn't know anything about them, and just listen to the music, and that's all, you would love it. The concerts are great, but then the whole fan base and the things that we can talk about and share, friendships that we develop, it just ties it all together and makes it really special.
Yeah, there's so many levels to this, like in terms of the people you meet and the people you connect with, and how deep one could be educated really about the music itself, from knowing the chords and the technical things and the gear and the set lists. Like there's just so many, it's limitless. Like people asked me when I started this podcast, were you going to just do a podcast about one band? I'm like, I'm thinking this is a 12-piece band who does covers, and all of them have had solo work and careers and things to talk about. And they dive into so many different genres of music, and they're continually writing music and touring. And I can't keep up with what all the things that they're doing. I know the Kofi day of service was just announced. Definitely go to the band's social media and sign up to do that. I'm plugging that now before I forget, in case I forget. And I know Sun, Sand, and Soul's coming up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to that. I know I promised people I would, but I know that there's some fan pre-sales about to happen or happening for that. So there's so many things going on. Where are you? Did you say, Dan?
I'm in Lincoln.
Nice. Yeah, I'm guessing Nebraska, and from what
and Lincoln, for those that don't know, Lincoln's about an hour away from Omaha, so it's close enough that we can go to the shows. If one's in Omaha, Lincoln folks can go, and vice versa.
Right. I can't say I see too many times on the tour schedule that TTB hits Nebraska, but I guess it often enough. But you guys probably get kind of the short end of the stick, similarly to the West Coast a little bit.
Yeah, it's like if they're traveling through on their way to Red Rocks, if the past 2 years it's been east to west, right? Now it's going west to east. Yeah. So it's a convenient place because we're only 7 or 8 hours from Denver. And usually in the winter tour, they're going to be somewhere in the Midwest, whether it's Kansas City or Minneapolis, or the last couple of years it's been Omaha.
You will get your Monday 6 p.m. show, and we will enjoy your Monday 6 p.m. show. That's right. It's funny. You said you were recalling a Monday show from years past, and that's what it was last night. Michelle, why don't you tell me a little bit about Red Rocks, and then we'll dive into the Nebraska show, because it was your first time there. So I for my own personal, I'm curious what that's like.
It was just incredible. I mean, I anticipated it to be the case. From everybody I've heard, the two big ones are, Red Rocks and the Beacon, right? Like, the Beacon is now on my list again. I checked off Red Rocks. Now I got to get to the Beacon. But Red Rocks was just the energy, right? The energy flows from the band to the fans and then back to the band. And you can truly feel that at Red Rocks. And you can feel when it doesn't happen as well. But Red Rocks is just the people. I don't think anybody sat down for maybe they took a break for a little bit, but for the most part, everybody was standing and dancing, hugging and meeting new friends. And, we went and tailgated at the upper South lot before the show. I'm glad we did, because then we were able to meet a bunch of, people. I met a guy who drove here in this really old van he drove here from Utah. He lives in his van. And he brought a friend with him on a cross-country road trip to go see for her first Red Rocks show and her first TDB show. So I met a group of 3 older women who were probably in their, if I had to guess, I mean, I don't want to be like rude about age. If I had to guess, I would say probably late 60s, maybe. And the 3 of them were by themselves. They were having the time of their life. They had traveled together for years going to concerts. They had been to Red Rocks multiple times. One of them said her first Red Rocks show was U2, I think. And they were just living their best life and enjoying the moment. I met some other people. I met a few people that had the same exact T-shirt on as me. So that was kind of funny. I did some selfies with some people with matching T-shirts. And, became Facebook friends with a few people. It's just the people, is what I think contributes to how amazing the show is. I mean, clearly you've got the music, you've got the talent, you've got, all of that, but then the atmosphere and the people just living their best lives. I think I put something on Facebook. It felt like I was in the stands with thousands of my closest friends, just enjoying life, and on cloud 9. So we walked around, we went to the top of this. Our seats were in like the 18th row, right side of the stage. So we had fantastic seats, but we had to, hoof our way up to the top just to get the view and check out the food and the vendors and the things. I did get my poker chip from Red Rocks. So that was cool because I did not get one in La Vista. I was really bummed about that. And I did buy one of the famous AI posters, whatever it is, what it is, but it's still a poster and it's still Tedeschi Trucks, so it's fine. But
that one's going to be worth the most because it's going to be the most limited one that's accessible because they kind of discontinued and buried it maybe. So that one's going to be ironically the collectible item, even if there's been a lot of controversy surrounding it. I get what you're talking about with the vibe at Red Rocks. I have not been there. I've done Beacon. We need to switch, but just because like everyone's there, it's a destination show, so everyone's there, really wants to be there, is likely a hardcore TTB fan who's been to multiple shows. And if you're not that, you're probably with someone who is, so you're sort of expecting exciting things, so you're excited, and that like sort of vibe and energy is just something you can feel. Like of course at the Beacon you kind of get that vibe where it's like family and everybody, kind of if you feel like and everyone like it's you're in a theater with or at a venue with thousands of your best friends kind of vibe, and that's super cool. And we'll get into the Nebraska show because I guess what I'm asking is by comparison, like Red Rocks is the destination show and everyone is going there because they love TTB, whereas maybe this Nebraska show, is it more like the thing to do in town, so not everyone in the theater is a hardcore fan? Not that makes it better or worse or whatever, but is it the vibe different? What do you guys say in terms of that?
Yeah, I think the vibe is different. The setting is so unique, that adds to it. But yeah, you certainly get more local people there. Won't be people traveling across the country to get to Omaha for this, as nice as Omaha can be. It's nice for, it's for the local people, so that people who can't travel get a chance to hear them. It's their chance. And so it
is that it? The picture I got here pulled up, the Astro Theater.
Yep. They have an indoor and an outdoor option. So that photo looks like the front of the building where it's like where you access the indoor part of the theater. The outdoor, I think that might be AI actually, because
I just grabbed random pictures.
It's that big, but
oh man,
it might be. I don't know. It didn't seem to look that big.
This could be an original. Like,
it's only a year or two old, isn't it, Michelle?
Yeah.
Cool. Here's a non AI poster. Presumably, did you guys get this poster, or are you guys poster people? I mean,
I am a poster person, but I did not get this one.
I like this one.
I do too.
I'm a fan.
Look, and I like the corn down in the corners. If you notice that, to me, the graphic didn't look particularly. It looks a little more Southwest to me for whatever reason, but that's fine. And And I love, of course, the guitar neck coming out from the building or whatnot. And then the corn in the two corners was really pretty cool.
Is there anything else significant to the local area in this poster that I might be missing that you guys might be knowledgeable about?
Is that a cowboy in the middle, Michelle? I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, it looks like a guy riding a horse in the middle with the windmill in the background.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah,
that
that's
would probably
very
be more like
very
Western Nebraska, but yeah.
Well, that's great.
Sort of a gateway to the West kind of vibe. And
Yes, it's a great poster.
And you got these images here. I mean, these details. I
Oh
always look
yeah,
at them
the details on the far right. So the one in the middle where the guy's on the horse, the two sides at the bottom part of that is the dome at the Omaha Henry.
Oh, Michelle, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
What was that?
So the zoo in Omaha has a dome where you go in, and I can't remember what lives in the dome.
It's a desert dome.
It's kind of an iconic part of the Henry Dorley Zoo in Omaha.
And this is Earth. This looks like Earth. I'm pretty sure that's Earth from space. That's interesting because usually you see a lot of moon icons, whereas we're looking down on Earth from outer space, which is interesting. I'm going to overanalyze and overinterpret and see meanings that aren't there. That's kind of
why not.
That's always my goal for this part of the.
We mentioned how many different levels you can be a fan, and one is to go through all the art of the poster art is really a whole other thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I
think it's like when you're looking at any piece of art, I think it's reasonable to assume intention.
Sure.
Even if I'm guessing at what that intention might be, I think there's always a method to the madness. These are all choices. They could have done different pattern, different whatever. Things could have been different. I didn't even notice the guitar neck right on the path here. Did you guys notice that? I'm noticing that
really cool.
right now.
Yeah.
Super cool. Should we get into the set list? I got some of your pictures too here.
Adam, I just sent one to you too, that shows the outdoor venue, from at least from where I was sitting. But I was just a couple seconds. One of my dreams, in addition to meeting the band, I did meet Mark when I went to St. Louis. Got a chance to talk to him a little bit before the show. But another one is to get a set list, and I was about 5 seconds away from getting one. But the person right in front of me asked just as I was getting the attention of somebody and got the one that I wanted. So I was disappointed, but maybe next time.
Maybe they need to just print out like more set lists. Why not have like dozens and dozens of set lists? I don't know.
I think getting like one of the original set lists is kind of the thing, though, right? Like this was actually taped to the drum set.
Right. It still has the tape on it.
Yeah. If it's still warm coming out of the printer, it's not.
It's not the same, is it?
That's true. I do have some guitar picks behind me, but I don't think they're game used, so to speak.
I noticed Susan in one of the solos. I want to say it was in How Blue Can You Get, maybe, where once or twice she had to go grab her pick. And I don't mean to distract from whatever direction you wanted to go at them, but I can't imagine, because it's hot and humid. I can't imagine how they're able to play their instruments like that when it's so hot and humid, and for her to be able to keep control of those guitar picks. I just have no idea how she does it.
Maybe they're textured. Some guitar picks do have a little texture for a grip, but I did hear it was quite warm at this, and it wasn't helped by the early start, I suppose, either.
Yes, in fact, the first I was looking to see if I had a picture. I don't think I had it, but you can kind of tell in this picture, the venue faces, I think, to the south. So the sunset would have been to the right of this picture, what would have been stage left. And they started at 7:30. So we have another full hour of sun here in Nebraska at that time. And so they all had their sunglasses on. And let me tell you, Derek looks pretty badass with those sunglasses on, because he was looking directly, if you think about it, the directions here, he was looking right in the sun for the first hour of the show. And I don't know if that picture shows that or not, but I just thought he looked pretty cool. As does Susan with their sunglasses on.
Oh, there you
I
go.
just sent you one where Derek's wiping his face with this old towel. So
Yeah, there you go. You can see them. Oh, that's
Yeah.
a great picture.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sunglasses.
And at the
yep.
end of the show, I think his shirt became dark purple because I mean, I don't know how he wears jeans in this heat, but
I guess they just get used to it. They played enough summer shows in so many outdoor venues in the summer. It's part of being a professional musician, but nevertheless,
they've played through all kinds of weather and climates, and recently it's windy in Red Rocks and getting chilly, I suppose, and rainy, and you're having delays out there, and now you're in the hot sun. Lots of diverse climate all around this country, and the band just plays.
I remember seeing the chandeliers at Red Rocks just really swaying in the wind because it was super windy. I didn't realize they're part of the set, right? Like I thought it was just a thing at Red Rocks because again, it was my first time at Red Rocks, so I didn't know. And so when I came to this show and I saw the same chandeliers, I was like, oh, those are the ones that were swaying in the wind. They looked like they were going to fall off the chain.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that they're going to stay up.
Yeah.
It's a little nerve-wracking. I didn't notice that while watching the live stream. There's Derek wiping his brow there. Where'd it go? Lost it there. Yeah, super hot there. And Ephraim behind, I didn't even notice that.
Yep, same, both of them.
At the exact same time. And they must have been sweating a ton because this is not in between. It's definitely not in, I don't think it's in
No,
between.
she's in the middle of singing.
Yeah, she's not talking to the crowd. She's singing right there. And they're like, I need to get a quick break. You take the.
I hope they don't give up on us because I think it was even hotter. I think the Lincoln show last year was hotter than this one. But nevertheless, I hope they don't say, you know what? We're just going to cruise on through and get to Colorado or Chicago as fast as we can. But because we really appreciate them taking time to stop here and perform.
Absolutely.
And I thought it was pretty much a full house last night. I thought, Michelle.
Yeah, it was. I tend to kind of geek out a little bit on what the seat situation is and usually go to like Ticketmaster right before the show and kind of look to see how many open seats there are. And there weren't many. There was only maybe, I'd say 25, 30 total.
Less than 100 for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that place is supposed to seat 5,000, but whether they were set up for 5,000 for this show, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's new, so I don't really know the whole seating arrangement. But I mean, it was a big crowd and it was full. I hope that they know that they're going to get a good audience in Nebraska, even if it's really hot.
What's the I was going to ask, is there an indoor venue option?
Yeah.
What's the indoor theater?
Yeah.
That's not the summer vibe for TTB does.
No, it isn't. There are, but probably not. You couldn't seat quite as many. So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the Orpheum is definitely, they played the Orpheum
summer,
in.
Right? What do you do? It's summer. It's just the way it is.
Yep. Yeah. And when they played the Orpheum, it was in the winter. So I feel like they're indoor, like theater type of venues. They typically do more in the winter, but I don't know. I mean, they do the Beacon, and when do they typically do the Beacon? Isn't it in like the beginning of like
October?
September,
October. Well, they went back. They're actually in the winter. It's funny because I hadn't really been back to New York. I'm in Southern California now, and I hadn't been back to New York during that time for a while. So I was like a little nervous. I'm going to get really cold and not be able to handle it. My poor thin blood these days. But I was able to handle it.
Socks.
I was able to handle it just fine with layers. Layers is the key. Moms know best. Moms know best.
That's right.
Yep. I'll pull up the set list and you could tell me about the music. I was poking around a little bit on YouTube and heard a little bit of It's So Heavy and what else did I hear? And Bell Bottom Blues, I heard a little bit. But Here My Dear, I Want More, Ain't That Something, It's So Heavy, Omaha. You guys can tell me what that is. I'll look that up. I know it's a cover.
Omaha is a Waylon Jennings cover, and I think if I looked right, and this didn't surprise me. I think it's the first time that they've ever done it. There's really only one place you can play that song, probably.
True.
And so if they took time to put that together, Mike sang that. and did a great job, of course, and the fans appreciated it. And that they took time to kind of personalize a set list and think through that and do something special for us. I thought was really nice.
Now, are they doing that special for you because they're never coming back again because it's too hot, or is it a sign that they love you so much so that there's no doubt that they're ever going to come back? So
let's go with that one.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Last Night in the Rain. After that, Bell Bottom Blues. Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad? Bring It On Home. Fall In, Part of Me, Midnight in Harlem. How Blue Can You Get? The Storm Into Whipping Post. And I Wish I Knew for the encore. Is that correct? Is that what you guys saw and heard?
That was it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'll give you guys the floor. Whatever favorite moments and whatever jumps out at you.
Dan, you want to take that?
Oh boy, this is a real different set list for me than the 5 shows or 4 shows I'd been before. I recognized several of them, but a few of them, that Last Night in the Rain, I haven't heard them perform that before. Bring It On Home must be new. Is that
that was the Led Zeppelin?
That's a Led Zeppelin.
Part of the Led Zeppelin for the Deuces Wild covers. They paired that one with What Is and What Should Never Be, and they debuted those in LA at the LA shows.
Okay, so that's one that I hadn't heard them.
I think it's only the 3rd time they ever played it. Third? Is it the 3rd?
Yeah.
Or the 4th? Maybe this is the 3rd.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad they played Midnight in Harlem. They didn't when they were in Lincoln last year. And I don't know. I'm curious, Adam, if you want to share or direct me to where you've talked about this at another podcast episode as to who and how and when they put together the set list. Does Derek do all of it? Does someone else do it?
From what I understand, it's Derek. And
do they do it an hour before, 3 days before?
I don't know exactly when, probably on the bus while they're traveling, but I think it's Derek, and obviously there's feedback and suggestions and a conversation, but I think he's the ultimate decider, so to speak, with the set list.
Well, that's kind of what I would guess, but if you kind of learn the style of the band after a while, you wouldn't be surprised if there's some collaboration.
And sure, I'm sure there's
and each person gets a part at some point, right? So Elizabeth might solo on, I can't remember which one that she did, and then Ephraim will, and then Kebby will, and and Mark and Alicia sing, and I Wish I Knew, and that's a highlight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There's a lot to balance, like when they create the set list, because they do, from what I understand, take into consideration what was played in the area, the region, the venue, the city, previous years. So that I would not be surprised at all. Is that why they're like, oh, we got to give them a Midnight in Harlem this go around because they didn't get it last time. So
well, it is a fan favorite, and I don't know how you feel about this, Michelle or Adam. Is they have such a variety of music, and everybody wants to hear that, of course, because for many it was their entry song. They heard it on Sirius XM or something.
It's their signature song, is what I kind of refer to it.
Certainly is, and it's the one. If someone's going to hear it, it's usually that's one of the songs that they will hear right somewhere, and so it's an entry, and so people want to hear it. It's a fan favorite, but to do, they aren't going to do it every night. I just understand.
No.
So I'm really happy that since they didn't play it in Lincoln last year, that they did in Omaha.
I think in almost every two city run or residency, you are going to get a Midnight in Harlem. But I think there is probably a strategic element to playing it at this type of show, where there's going to be a lot of locals and newbies or people who just discovered the band from Midnight in Harlem or something like that, or new fans who are going to be looking at where it is in the set list towards the end, I'm sure everyone was pretty much won over by then. So that Midnight in Harlem was probably just gravy. But yeah, it is a conversion song, so to speak, where it's like, oh, I heard Midnight in Harlem, now I got to know about this band and everything they're up to.
Yeah.
If I can say one more thing, Michelle, and then I'll let Michelle give her thoughts. Something was new for me is when we got to the guitar solo in Midnight in Harlem, Derek walked back and shared that with Kebby. And I hadn't really heard that before in the 100 times, or the few times I've seen it live, and the hundreds of videos I've seen of it on YouTube or elsewhere. And I wonder if he's done that in other shows before, because I thought to myself, and to the friend that I brought, I said, I don't recall that ever happening before.
You're talking about during the solo, like during the song, or
yes,
like
not the intro.
Not the intro. Oh,
not the intro, because I've heard the intro, they will do that, and you just know.
That's what I thought you were referring to at first. Yeah.
No, it was in the solo when he gets to it, and he just walked back behind Gabe's keyboard over by Kebby, and they just shared it for the most part.
That's cool. That's interesting. Like that's all you're allowed to breathe fresh life, so to speak, into Midnight. Like every time you first hear something new, a different solo, a different version, a live version, it sounds great. But if you're listening just to the audio, I'm like, something sounds different. But I don't know. But then like the second time you listen to something, that's the correct version, whatever the most recent version or of a song they put out. Oh, it's like, why didn't they just do it like that? They just always keep everything so fresh, and in a way that you don't even know that you are going to appreciate how the music evolves. Like I'm like, oh, I love what they're doing in 2014, and then like 2018 is like, wow, look at that, and then like they keep getting better. Like everyone keeps saying that it's like it's the best. Every show is the best show I've been to. Everyone.
Yes.
The latest one.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I noticed that too, Dan, that usually he played, because they played Midnight in Harlem at the Orpheum.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't recall that. And that didn't really stand out to me as a memory when they played Midnight at the Orpheum. And the other thing too is, Kebby is just a madman on the saxophone. I mean, I just don't know. Does he have a spare set of lungs in his back pocket? Like, I just don't understand where he gets the lung capacity to be able to play the way he plays that saxophone. And when he played his solo during Midnight, it was more of kind of a tamer version of Kebby. And it was beautiful. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful, but I love all of their music, and I love all of the ways Kebby plays. And I love the trombone solos. And I have noticed that when Derek will go up to each individual that's doing their solo, he'll go over to Gabe, when it's his time to have a little solo, he'll kind of engage and look at each member of the band as it's their time for their solo. And then I feel like Susan takes her side of the stage and does the same with the vocalists when it's time to feature them on a piece. But I think for me, I have noticed, and maybe this is just a weird superstition thing, but there've been 2 shows, and I've only been to 5. There's been 2 shows that have opened up with Anyhow. And the ones that have opened up with Anyhow have been just jamming shows. Just like you can't sit down, kind of overall, just like the music just kind of takes over your soul, and you're just like, wow, what is happening right now with the entire set list. And to me, this show was kind of like a relaxing, vibe. Like it was just kind of this chill vibe. I mean, there was a couple of upbeat songs, where everybody got up and cheered and, danced. And there was, the handful of standers and dancers throughout the entire show. Right. But I kind of wondered if they didn't maybe anticipate a quieter audience in Omaha.
Michelle, I thought the exact same thing, and I texted a friend of mine who's a bigger fan than I am, longer time fan, and has taught me a lot about TTB. But I kind of said the same thing. They hear My Dear, and of course I went more as a real rocker, and Ain't That Something's upbeat. But nevertheless, I just kind of mellow, like they're kind of just getting us going, and then we'll get into it. But those other shows you mentioned, like at the Orpheum, where there's 3 or 4 of those right out of the gate, and it's like, wow, there was no easing into this. It was pedal to the metal, boom.
Yep.
And this was just a little different vibe. It really was.
Did that fit? It sounds like that fit though with the. I mean, I just picturing like and envisioning how hot it was. It's a Monday night. It's earlier in the night.
Right.
They're coming off kind of like I'm sure they get like a high from Red Rocks in a sense. Like it's a big deal for the. I think anything that's going to be live streamed, like they want things to go right and be right, so they have to spend a lot of mental energy on that. So like this is. Not that there is no mailing it in with TTB, and there's no mailing in a single moment with TTB during a show, let alone an entire show. But the vibe I could see might be a little different. You know, you got Fall In, Part of Me, the way that song sort of evolves throughout the song itself into the kind of chill jams and midnight, like Fall In, Part of Me, and Midnight in Harlem, just like those three in a row. That's a very chill vibe right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It was a very chill, kind of relaxed. But, you know, to be fair, this is the upper Midwest where, you know, it's just, I don't know if it's a Midwest nice thing or I don't know what it is, but like there's a lot of sitters and I'm a stander and dancer. And so it's hard for me because I feel like, come on, guys, everybody get up. You know, this is
where were you sitting?
Why are you sitting? Were
you sitting in that front section? I looked at your picture to kind of tell where you're sitting. I had the same vibe.
Yeah.
I was disappointed a little bit that way, but I was farther back, so I really couldn't see the lower level so much. But it just, and I understand people. I'm the same way. I go mainly to it because I appreciate the music. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to see how they perform.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me. And I think the attention was very strong. I think people were in tune with what's going on, but they're just, you know, like you said, Midwest, pretty staid, you know, Northern European blood, where we're just here to kind of sit and listen and not to physically participate. And that's not to say it was everybody. And so there were certainly people in the aisles dancing and things like that. And I think the highlight beyond the music for me was there were 3 girls, teenage girls, that we ended up walking out at the end. So I asked them about this, but there are 3 teenage girls. So I'm, to put this in context, I'm 61, and I would guess I was about median age of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big crowd, but a lot of gray hair, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, we appreciate it.
We're there. Fairly standard.
We're there because we appreciate this quality of music, right? And this is where you go to get it. But in that crowd, there were 3 teenage girls just dancing to their heart's delight. They were mouthing the words to the songs. They knew the words to the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was amazed, and it made me so happy. And so as we were walking out, I just said, you know, girls, you really made this show for me. The music was great, but to see you enjoying it. And the 2 of them said something to the effect that they were in a blues band. I'm imagining they're from Omaha. I don't know. And so she said, we love this music. We know all of this music. And I just thought that was so great. That was just so great.
There is an Omaha School of Rock here in Omaha where people can go, primarily youth, can go and learn how to play rock and roll, and they teach in that blues component as well. So I think that they're doing a good job of exposing people to kind of the heart of music, and once blues is in your blood, I guess it's there. So.
Yeah, I've been like really happy and fortunate to, in the last 5, 10, 20, whatever years, discover that there's more and more young blues and blues rock artists who are super talented, whether it's guitar playing, singing, songwriting, all of the above. And a lot of these artists have been introduced to me, you know, either directly from TTB or just going down the TTB rabbit holes and getting suggestions from either friends or algorithms or whatever the case may be. Like I think this type of music is definitely alive and well. Whereas even at times in my life, I questions like I don't know, this is never going to be popular, and credit the internet a lot, for that, because whatever you're into, like you can find your little subculture, not necessarily even little, but your culture, your subculture, your community, whatever your musical taste is. So that's just a great thing that like you have your Marcus Kings and Kingfishes and
right.
Larkin Poes and
yes,
and Taz's and Quinn Sullivan and Southern Avenue is another band, and there's just so many like young artists and great ones out there that are worth following and listening to.
I think one of the things that I really appreciate the most about their concerts and their shows is it's truly a concert, but it's a performance, but it's lacks all of the extra bells and whistles and the, swinging from the chandeliers and the, pyrotechnics and the, confetti cannons and all it's unnecessry.
They don't even have an introduction. They don't get introduced.
Boom, we go.
Their talent speaks for itself, and you don't need to have all the bells and whistles for them to be loved, appreciated, and followed clearly. They don't need the radio play in order to be appreciated and loved and followed. I mean, they sell out, I think, most every show. And that their music speaks for itself. And I think it's a combination of things too. It's not just the music, right? It's their performance on stage. It's their love for one another. It's their love for the music, it's not a band that solely focuses on Derek and Susan. Like they do a great job of allowing other people on the stage to shine as well. And not just, hey, here's introducing the bandmates. It's letting them do their thing as well, and letting them shine as well. But I think that the shows, the live performances or productions, they don't take a break and change into different costumes and all that. It's just so unnecessary. And for this band particularly, it's unnecessary.
That's so well said and articulate. You guys are great. And I agree with all that for sure. And I was thinking back to something that you said about talking about Derek, kind of leading the band and giving nods and steering and going over when Gabe is soloing or Kebby or whatever, giving cues. But Susan really is, I haven't really thought about it, but she is kind of a little bit seeming like she's in charge of maybe not in charge of the right word, but like kind of the leader of the vocals. And it makes sense as she's the lead singer in the band, where she is kind of, we talked a bunch on the podcast about seeing how encouraging she is on stage, sharing the stage with Alicia and really all the vocalists, and how excited she gets to see Mark Mark come down too sometimes, but Mike especially more often, and just the way seeing her interact with the vocalist, she does show like leadership qualities in doing that, and that's fun to see and makes sense. They're great band leaders, because I usually think of Susan more as like she's like the MC. She's more working the crowd and introducing the band and making a funny comment here and there, but she is kind of managing on stage a little bit the vocals and her side of the stage. Since they did this, it's been a while, probably 2-3 years at this point. A couple
of years ago, where they switched their sides.
Right.
Yep.
That makes sense for that reason too. It's to have Susan on the side with the vocals and have Derek on the side with the majority of the instruments.
I just love to watch the two of them interact on one level, Susan and Derek, and the nods he will give, and where you can just go where she's going. And you feel like he gives a nod because he wants her to take another 16 bars or whatever. Don't quit.
Yeah.
To me, it's often on Pity the Fool. It's kind of like, just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
If you want to keep playing or, singing, you just keep going. But other ones where he just kind of he's enjoying what she can do. And I don't know, that to me, I think would be one of the ultimate sort of mood booster or steam booster, is that you're playing there together with somebody and they both enjoy each other's abilities. And then there was just the way he'll nod, or he'll just flip his head like this, and there to go. Someone else then takes off, and that's their cue. And it's like, how they can do all of that is just amazing to watch.
For sure. They set the tone with like how they interact with each other. And it's obviously unique because they're married and the couple in a relationship, and I guess that line can be blurred sometimes, even on stage. Like they're maybe not, maybe like they are musicians when they're on stage more than anything, but the looks that they're sharing come from such a personal place. And when it's when the rest of the band sees that, how, the vibe between Derek and Susan, I think that just filters down to everyone else.
It's special. I really enjoy it when you see him walk over and whisper in her ear about something. It's probably a shout, but it looks like a whisper to us, or just a smile, or whatever it might be. It's just fun to watch how those two play together.
I saw something on social media recently from the Red Rock show. It looks
I know
like
what you're gonna say.
he wiped her nose.
Yeah.
For her. She was right in the middle of a guitar solo, and she must have gave him the look or something, or he just noticed that maybe just sweat was pouring down her, or she had a runny nose. I don't know what happened, but he walked over to her and used his towel and wiped her nose. So right in the middle of her playing. And that's love.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was cool to see. That was on that blues song. I forget what song it was, but the cover that they've been doing. But that was funny and fun to see. I can't think of another band where you see these sort of interactions with the band members where it really is like some band members will claim to be friends or actually be friends, or maybe have complicated relationships, but to see people really acting like friends and family on stage. Yeah. And being like, you really do get the whole, like I talk about this all the time, but you get the whole range of sort of emotions and from TTB shows, and including like humor, like that's also like a part of the stage, and lightheartedness. That's like on the one end of a spectrum in terms of a tone at one point in the show. And other times it's like things could be really, really, really serious, like, and sometimes even like a little bit dark. Some of them, like, none of the music is really dark, but it can be very serious and
heavy.
Heavy. That's the word that they use a lot and they have a song. Obviously, It's so heavy, but I mean, even not to be like morbid or anything like that, but thinking back to like when Kofi passed and the shows after that, Dressed in All Black, those were very serious shows. Like that's a different vibe than I'm gonna wipe Susan's nose, like so you get the whole range of from the lighthearted and fun to like
I saw at this show in La Vista, I saw after Elizabeth got done with one of her solos, I saw Kebby give her a little fist bump. So it was kind of like, hey, buddy, it was pretty cool.
And that's genuine. That's authentic. And I keep thinking back, like this just comes in my head. These things pop in my head. But like I was lucky enough to interview Kebby, and what struck me is how he talked about TTB, the band, and their music, somewhat from the perspective of a fan of the music, and how cool it is for him to like play in TTB as if he just joined the band and it was an original member. Like, oh, I get to do this and get play TTB music. What would I rather be doing? Like, but that guy just, I don't know if I've met anyone who loves playing music as much as him ever. Like he would literally does literally play on anywhere. Like some of that guy's favorite gigs, like sounded like he's just like playing on a pickup truck, parade, whatever, in the street, in apartments, on front lawn. Like he loves music, as they all do, but they're passionate group.
Yeah.
But what you were saying earlier, Michelle, about just like your whole articulating and like the vibe of being a fan, like when we walk into a venue, especially if it's like a Red Rocks or a Destination type show, you really feel that energy, and everyone, like even if they don't say it, knows everything you're talking about. Like the whole fan and the no frills show that you're gonna get, and we're all on the same page with that. It's like, it's interesting.
It's almost like, with the blues, there's a lot of there's that that call and response is one of those things that happens within music, and I feel like that happens with the band and the fans too. It's like this, this call and response kind of feeling in that energy of you're speaking to us and we're speaking to you through nonverbals, through verbals too, but like and just when everybody's in a good mood and spirits are high, it just contributes to the energy in the room. You know, I wasn't sure. I anticipated that to happen at Red Rocks, but I first experienced it at the Orpheum, and you're in an enclosed building, right? But when you're outdoors, I kind of wondered if some of that energy, if you will, would just kind of dissipate up in the air. And it clearly did not at Red Rocks. It was very alive and well. One of my other, going back to Red Rocks, one of my other things that I forgot to mention was I had never seen somebody doing art during a live performance. And I ran into this guy, Scrambles. I can't remember his name now.
His art has been on the Facebook group.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I caught something. Okay, I got to
really
get
cool.
this guy on. I got to
Really
get those.
cool.
I got to get him on. I got to get the dancing teenage girls on. I got a lot of future guests.
Yeah,
you guys are all like little celebrities in my head, in my world. You know,
Yeah.
the fans is fun.
Super cool to watch the energy kind of flow from the room through his paintbrush and onto his canvas. And it was just, they're super colorful. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his artwork. Did you say you've seen it?
I think it looked cool. I saw people were definitely responding positively to it. And I had seen some people painting at concerts. I think like the Red Rocks would be that type of venue. I think when you have a scenic venue, I think the Hollywood Bowl might be somewhere I see people painting at of a Southern
Probably
California.
won't see it in Omaha. You never know. I mean, you never know. There's some super artistic people here, so you never know.
I only have jokes about Nebraska and corn. Like, I don't have anything valuable to add. I appreciate your guys' time. I know I've taken up a lot of it. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to cover about the shows or Red Rocks. I'm happy to keep talking for as long as you guys want to about this band. Like we you know, the floor is
another
yours.
special moment is at the end of the show. The other shows they've done a couple of encores. So I was kind of waiting for 2 encores, but they really did an extended version of I Wish I Was Free, or I Wish I Knew. And that was fine. And you really wouldn't have done another song after that. It was so awesome. But anyway, as the band was leaving and Susan was thanking for everybody and everybody love each other, we need to love each other, someone had throw a rose up onto the stage. And she kneeled down to get it and kind of curtsied and said, thank you. And I just thought that was pretty special that a fan had thought ahead to do that. And I just thought that was really neat to see.
Yeah. I saw that too, Dan. I thought that was pretty cool. And I did also agree with you. I was waiting for that second. But it was also so hot, and I just felt awful for them. I was like, go rest. Like, you guys have kicked some serious butt tonight. You know, just go rest. Get out of the heat. But it was an extended version, so it was like getting 2 songs in one, if you will.
It was a great end to the show.
Yeah. Yes. And just, you know, the other thing that blows me away about Susan is she'll get up on stage, she'd be like, thank you. You know, she's got this just pretty voice, this pretty talking voice, and then she sings and she just blows your mind, you know? It's like, where's this voice coming out of this tiny, you know, petite, soft-spoken woman, you know?
People have commented on that juxtaposition before over the years with Susan, the speaking voice, to the, you know, Mark's voice, his speaking voice. People have also commented on, you might not be surprised he's a singer when you hear he has like a powerful speaking voice. People have commented on, but like Susan, I guess it's a big. But you know, if you got the talent, you got the talent. They're very charming on stage. Also, like speaking to how they interact and the wiping the nose and how she talks to the crowd a little bit. Here and there, they're very comfortable up there. They're very charming up there, and the music is it's very tight, but it's also a lot of improv. I think their improv is tight, if that makes any sense. Right. And there's a narrative and a journey to it, even if it's being improv. I always feel like this is going to go somewhere that's going to be, you know, the peaks and the valleys and the climaxes and the quiets and the louds, the pin drop moments to the revving it up with the drums during loud guitar solos or whoever is revving it up and getting their shine. It's I mean, I'm just rambling, but nevertheless,
it's like poetry. I mean, if you know, there's the beginning and the middle and the end, like you said, the climax, and you know, it's truly like poetry, but it's in music form, and then you got the lyrics added to it. It's just, you know, all together, put together very, very well. But I love that improv part of their music too, because nothing is ever the same twice. You can hear them perform Midnight in Harlem 50 times and it'll be different every time. And that goes to say all of the songs that they perform, I think, are special because they're a little bit different every time.
It's what keeps us bringing us back. A big part of it is the element of surprise. And sometimes I guess it's hard to explain this to people who don't know. Like, we're going to what show are you going to? You're listening to that event, whatever. Yeah. Mom, besides like, revolving some, a chunk of my time around doing the podcast, like just revolving around watching live streams. I'm like, I'm not meeting you for dinners Friday or Saturday night. You got the Red Rock stream. You got this a live stream. Like I can't be doing that. There's I'm waking up early on the West Coast to see Susan's like guitar release videos and stuff on her YouTube and all this stuff. Like,
yeah,
we're all nuts.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Oh yeah, in the best ways possible.
Yeah, my friend that I brought to Red Rocks with me, she was like, "Who we going to see? Some truck band?" Like, she had no idea. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I made her listen to them the whole drive from Omaha to Denver, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, these guys are great!" And then when she saw them, she was like a little kid in a candy store. I mean, she was just like, "Oh my gosh!" She just kept saying, "Oh my gosh!" like the whole concert. So now she's officially a fan.
The way I always like to express kind of that sentiment is how I mention I've gone to a fair amount of TTB shows with other people, and the majority of those people have been to more than one TTB show. Yeah. So that just goes to show that like people really like the band. Tell me when they're back in town. Where we going? And what show are we going to? Are you going?
Yep.
Family members, friends, everyone, anyone.
Yep. I introduced them to my boyfriend 2 years ago, and he's been to 3 shows already. So
there's something for everyone. Like like you can give people different endpoints. I feel like for TTB, sometimes it's Midnight in Harlem that sells them on the band, or sometimes if you're a guitar dude or you're into singers, or if you play the drums, how do you not be obsessed with this band? Like, honestly, if you're a drummer, TTB has to be on your, at the very least. I'm gonna buy their album or go to their show when they come to town, or study what they're doing, like be a part of your life and your musical life. Like, it's funny because I a lot of people don't know Tedeschi Trucks Band when it comes up in conversation, but if I walk into Guitar Center or I go to like a local blues show or a mid-level artist or something like that, someone who has a good amount of Instagram followers but playing local, like everyone like of those band members, they know TTB. Majority of the room knows Derek, Susan, whatever. Like they're musicians. I think.
Oh yeah, very much. All my music friends know exactly who they are. So
good stuff. Anything else, guys, you want to share or mention or even plug? Whatever, it's all good.
I mean, I could talk about them all night. So at some point in time, we got to cut it off. But
yeah, do you guys have any upcoming? What's coming? What do you guys got for the rest of the year? Any more shows?
Joe Bonamassa is coming at the beginning of August. I don't have tickets for him yet. I'm still debating, but
no more TTB on the schedule.
Not on the schedule for me.
They are back in the Midwest again. I don't think they're in driving distance in Omaha, but I think on this tour, I was trying to figure out, is there another chance? Because I think they're in Chicago tomorrow and then Minnesota for 2 or 3 days. But I think they are back in the Midwest somewhere towards the end of the year.
Minneapolis really isn't that far of a drive. I want to say it's only like a maybe 5-6 hour drive, so that's still doable. But I don't have tickets to it yet. But that's not to say that I won't get tickets to them. And I'm sorry, I totally misunderstood what you were asking there. But
no, it's only no. I was gonna.
We have other music that comes here. We're not.
I was gonna ask that too. Like as you were talking, like, I would like to know the answer to that also. What else?
We get a good mix of acts between Lincoln and Omaha. Just about everybody who's touring comes through, but
I looked at the some of the social media for the Astro, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, those are real artists who come to
Yeah, they
Nebraska.
are.
You guys are a real state and everything.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yeah, we get a handful of shows here, but
Very cool.
yeah,
Good.
but no, I think I don't know if I've seen some people on social media from the Kansas City area kind of complaining like, why don't you come back here? So I think I don't know how long it's been since TDB has been down in the Kansas City area, but that would only be like a 4-hour drive for me. So I definitely hit that one up. But.
They do St. Louis, but that's totally the other side of the state from what I gather.
Yeah, that's like probably an 8-hour drive from here. It'd be closer for me to go to Minneapolis, but.
Right.
Probably for blues. I just thought of this. I wasn't sure, but I looked it up real quick. For blues fans, Robert Cray will be at the same venue at the end of August, that Astro Theater in La Vista. I imagine that'll be outside again. So for blues guitar fans, that's probably the next big show.
I don't think I've seen him live actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky to have caught most of my bucket list, I feel like, for the most part. But before I forget, I want to share one more time. We got Kofi Day of Service, September 21st and 22nd. Atlanta, Austin, Boston, Buffalo, Charlottesville, Chicago, DC, Denver, Jacksonville, Jamestown, LA, Nashville, New York City, Philly, Portland, Westchester County. Definitely check TedeschiTrucksBand.com on the app and join the Swamp family and support. Yeah, no, that was super fun. Get a hat, get a hat, get a T-shirt. We're doing you guys don't. You guys should organize one. I'm putting you on the spot.
I was just going to say that we don't have anything.
Let's get on that, Michelle. We can do it.
Okay, Dan.
A couple of man, maybe I should talk to the organizer. But people want to bring it to other cities, so that is something that's come up. Yeah, that would be cool. Totally. Like, I feel like there's still time. I mean,
it's
too late. You can't help. Don't even try to volunteer. Don't help. It's too late to help anyone.
This is a great thing. The first show that I went to in St. Louis in 2018, I got to see Kofi play, and that was really special. That was really special.
I did not, unfortunately. I did not ever get to see him perform.
He has such a presence still in this band, like in their songs and in their new songs and their old songs, and literally has his name on the gear still. So it's impossible to not like, but.
And I think Gabe did a really good job of transitioning in, into that space. And Kebby too, taking over for the flute. And yeah, I think Gabe did a really good job of transitioning into that. It's hard shoes to fill.
Yeah, for sure.
And he welcomed him in very, very well too, I think.
Right. And he brings like I was talking about how he brings his own element to the band with the singing and his own songwriting style and contributions and whatnot. Good stuff all around. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure we'll talk more soon. Hit me up anytime about TTB. I'll boot you guys out. I'll do my little outro if you want to talk for a few minutes after.
Thanks, Adam.
We can
Thank
do
you
that.
so much, Adam.
Oh, thank you guys. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you go. Episode, what was that? 163. Talking TTB in Nebraska. That was fun. Getting to meet a couple of new fans, making new friends all the time. Good stuff for sure. The band has a show. What do they have tomorrow in Chicago? I have to look at the calendar. I'm going to try to recap as many. They got, what do they say, 19 in 30 days or something in August. That's a crazy touring schedules, but I'm going to try to recap it. So yeah, please reach out if you're going to shows in August. I think I have some jotted down people who I've talked to, but definitely reach out if you want to come on. I'd love to have more fans on to recap all these shows on the Deuces Wild summer portion of the tour. Hope everyone's doing okay out there for sure. At Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. Pods reviews on Apple Podcasts are appreciated. Subscribe on YouTube. Like the video, share the videos, comment. All that stuff is cool. I'm at Adam Choate, Instagram and Twitter. AdamChoate.com, TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com for all things related to the show. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is the official website. Definitely go to shows if you can. Buy merch, support the band, join the Swamp Family fan club for sure. Download that app. But I think that's pretty much all I got for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it all for sure. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day or night or whenever you're listening to this. Peace.